Hey everyone, welcome to tutorial 1.1, which is about generative AI foundations and key concepts. Let's understand what all we are going to understand in this whole module 1.1. So first thing is the introduction to generative AI. Now what exactly is generative AI or Gen AI? So Gen AI is a branch of artificial intelligence that completely focuses on creating human-like outputs, which include, for example, you are writing a text, you are asking questions, essays, poems, summaries, answering questions. So generative AI generates the text as a human being can think and generate or write essay or write poem, answer the questions. Similar concept is there in generative AI. It generates the new content every time you ask the question based on certain thinking process that is implemented into the large language models. It can not only generate the text but images. You can create the designs, the photos, the mock-ups, the flowchart, whatever you want to create. It can also create the code. For example, you are working in the IT and software, it will create the code or in any programming language. You can simply explain or you can simply prompt, say for example, generate a code to reverse a string in Java or in Python. So it will create the code snippets that you can reuse, test and reuse into your programs or into your applications. So text, images, code, analyzing the existing code and providing feedback, not only the code and images but videos as well. So generative AI not only will generate the images but can also generate the videos as well. Okay, so it is a branch of artificial intelligence. It is within the AI umbrella. Now what are large language models or LLMs? So if we talk about the LLMs, are the types of Gen AI models which are pre-trained on large textual data sets. So how these large language models are able to generate the real content or the unique content every time you ask the question. Say for example, if I want to generate an image of the apple, how the model knows that it has to go ahead and generate the apple. If we are as a human being shown certain fruits, we have learned over the period of time by looking, observing those type of fruits, and then we can easily categorize. If we see any apple, whether it's the green apple, red apple or different type of apple variety, we'll be able to categorize that very easily. So our brain learns based on certain factors, based on looking, seeing, observing and what we are taught. Same concept is there in the large language model or in the artificial intelligence or generative AI. These models are trained on large data sets, and when you say for example feed in thousands and millions of images of fruits and these images are tagged as apple, banana, accordingly the model will go ahead and understand the pixel pattern and then see whether it's banana, this is apple, different thousands and thousands of images, and that's how it is able to understand. If you feed in the new image anytime, based on previous learning, it will be able to categorize those images. So LLMs are the type of Gen AI models which are pre-trained on large textual data set. When we say textual data set, it would be the complete internet information that is available publicly, the books, the information that is there in the libraries, all of that information. The maximum information that you will feed in, the better results or the better trained model you will get. So for example, if you prompt the LLM to write a test case for the login page, LLM will be able to output a list of positive and negative test cases for login scenarios. How? Because the model has been trained on large data set that is available either publicly and understands that for the login page there will be login, there will be username, there will be password, there will be login button, and username will have certain constraints, password will have certain constraints, and based on that it then is able to generate the positive and negative test cases for you. What are the key concepts in Gen AI? So the key concepts are the tokenization, the context window and multimodal model. So we have seen about the large language model. Now large language model is usually more of a textual or can generate the text data. But if we talk about the multimodal, they can handle multiple data type, text, images, audio, video, etc. Okay, but before that, let's understand the tokenization and context window. So what is tokenization? Tokenization is breaking the text into smaller units or tokens for processing. So say for example, you're typing in a paragraph, you're asking a question. All of that paragraph is not fed all in once to the model. It is basically first broken into the smaller chunks, or which are known as tokens. For example, if we talk about the text generative AI in testing, this could be broken as generative and then AI in testing. It could be a single word taken as a single token, or a word can be broken into multiple parts as well. For example, generative is a big word. It has been broken into 2 parts or 3 parts. Okay, so that's what the token is all about, breaking the text, bigger text, into smaller chunks. And usually the helpful rule of thumb is that one token usually will correspond to 4 characters, approximately 4 characters of the text. Not true always, but that's the rule of thumb of a common English text, that 4 characters will more or less be your one token. As in this case, you will see that there are 5 characters. Here there are 5 characters which is considered as one token, and this also can change based on the model. So a particular model, for example GPT-4, might be calculating tokens in a different way, GPT-5 in a different way, or the model from another organization will be calculating tokens in different way. Now the next important concept is the context window. When we say context window, it's the context length of the LLM, which is the amount of text in tokens that the model can remember or can consider or remember at one time. Say for example, I have started asking questions for a biology topic. So how much previous information the LLM can remember? I have been asking hundreds of questions. So will it remember all 100? Only if the LLM context window is that large enough that it can handle those many tokens. So context window is, say for example, will it remember 2-3 paragraphs, or will it remember 20-30 previous paragraphs that I have asked in the conversation? So that's what the context window is. And this is important because if the LLM or the model can remember what I have asked 30 minutes ago, then based on that, it will be able to generate the responses accordingly. I mean, timing is not the key here in the context window. The important thing is how many tokens or how many paragraphs or how much information the model can remember. So whether it can remember 200 characters or 200 words, 2000 words, 2 million words, that's what the context window is. Now the multimodal models is the model which can handle not only the text but the image generation, the video generation, the audio generation. A model which can generate multiple media types or multiple data types is multimodal model. For example, if you upload a bug screenshot and description of the bug, the AI can suggest a possible fixes. So mostly the model that you see, for example, if you go to copilot.microsoft.com or Google's Gemini, all of these models are multimodal model. They are not only able to generate the data but also the images, the videos as well. Okay, now generative AI in software testing, some practical applications. In software testing, you can use Gen AI to create the test plans, the test cases, the test scripts, identify the potential defects, summarize large requirement document, analyze the defect pattern, creating the synthetic test data, supporting document generation. Lot of applications are there, and we'll understand these practically as well in the upcoming videos. Just to take an example, generate the test data for an e-commerce checkout flow, and the AI will be able to generate the realistic user profile, the address, the payment details. All of that the Gen AI will be able to generate, not copying from somewhere, generating based on the previous learning. As we human beings are able to generate the new content, same way Gen AI will be able to generate the new content for you. Okay, so this is briefly about the module 1.1, what all we are going to cover in much more detail. Okay, so this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll be covering a lot more sections in this tutorial 1.1, wherein we'll deep dive into the foundations and key concepts of the generative. Thank you. See you in the next tutorial.